name's Nick Salcedo, and I'm a composer and a veterans advocate, so I like to work with veterans in any way I can. I was in the policy realm. I worked in the policy realm in D.C. For about 2 years after I graduated college, and it just wasn't working out for me in terms of my approach and trying to reach veterans. I felt, although that field is needed and research is needed, I felt my calling was more for more of a grassroots calling and community-based efforts to try to help veterans. I think that any form of creativity, it allows one to just look inside themselves, introspect, and vividly paint that, or produce that in a notation or artistic form. And I think it allows you to kind of reflect after it comes out on what you've done and what you were feeling at the time. And some things could be bottled up, and obviously the combat veteran population, we're like balloons that are already really full, and so all we need is just a little prick and we're gonna pop. So we need those outlets in order to ensure a growth with post-traumatic growth, as I call it. And so that's what I'm working on right now. I'm kind of after I was in the Marine Corps infantry, I decided to become a psych major in college, and I thought that was the route I wanted to go. I wanted to help vets, and I also wanted to help understand myself as well. And I wasn't getting much gratification from the policy end of things, even though that the field I was going into is try to tackle huge issues: suicidality, depression among service members. It was a really, really grand scale, and you wouldn't see any type of direct result coming out of that, at least for the next 5-6 years, even 10 years, or if ever. If some policymaker decides to use it, that's great, and they'll use it for their benefit most of the time. So I decided, although like I said, the field of research is needed, I wanted to apply those skills and not lose them, because I feel like I still utilize those skills I learned, but I wanted to utilize them with a different community, and that was more of the artistic community, and specifically the veterans who are artistic. And so many of us, after we got out, we decided to kind of band together. A lot of us are from the same unit, 2nd Battalion, 5th Marines. And so we all banded together and started kind of supporting each other in these efforts to unleash the feelings that we are currently holding in ourselves. And anytime somebody needs a hand, we can help them, but I can't help them clinically. I'm not a clinician. I can only help them with what I know, and music has helped me in a great way. And so right now I'm currently writing a score. It's called Odysseus and Symphony, and it's basically about the service members' journey before, during, and after serving in combat. And it was modeled after Jonathan Shea, his book. He's got 2, Achilles in Vietnam, Odysseus in America. And Odysseus in America is more relative to the current veteran, the serving post 9/11 veteran. And it kind of really it kind of sparked this idea of making a musical score out of it, because in his book he talks about sharing the burden of combat through community, using the community to share the burden, because we come home and we're lonely, we don't have the camaraderie anymore, we're kind of just separated from the rest of our crew, and now we got to figure everything out on our own. And so that's a nightmare. It's worse than combat. It was worse than actually fighting in Iraq, to be honest. Just because we were trained to do that, and we, it was horrific in itself, the things that we were exposed to over there. But coming home and having to deal with recollection and of those thoughts, and reflection of yourself, and who you were and who you are now and who you want to be that, in the future. And so you're kind of in this just this shitstorm. um, and so I felt like there's a few communities out there that are willing to hear, vets. And so I sought out, well, actually, they sought me out through another fellow vet that I was affiliated with in the Marine Corps, and we linked up when I got out. But he brought me on board, and this community was just totally all about, like, listening to vets, hearing them. There's a group of civilians trying to bring in different socioeconomic backgrounds into their community, be it blacks, be it Hispanics, anybody that's representative of any kind of social minority in America. And the veteran population actually kind of fits in with that as well as a social minority. And so, but what we're trying to do now is we don't stop serving our country after we get out. We continue. And we're desperately trying to figure out how to do that. And a lot of us are looking for like an outlet. And I felt like, what I learned in college and what I know innately with music, I can blend those two together somehow and make something that can serve the community at the same time. I could do all these three things at once. I can help vets, make music, and use the skills I learned in college. Like, that's awesome. And some people are like, man, I'm a psych major. What am I going to use? What am I going to do with that? Like, how am I going to, you have to get a PhD to become anything, right? But it's like, what did you learn though? You learn how to write a paper. You learn how to use words as tools for any given thing under could be for job related stuff, could be for other things, but also could be for social justice. And so you can apply those basic skills and apply them to funding proposals. You can apply them. So, for example, I want to start a creative organization on the West Coast. You might want to. I'm kind of jumbling here, but there's an organization called the Veterans Artist Program, and I'm trying to partner with these guys. They're looking for ambassadors on the West Coast, and they're looking for veterans to spread the word. Because I think they started in New York. I'm like, well, this is what I'm trying to do now. I'm trying to partner up with all these different creative organizations. Hopefully, they all have the same agenda, and hopefully there's no political motivation. But I'm really trying to just partner up with these organizations so we can develop some kind of community for veterans to go to when they need an outlet. And so, like, for example, there's a lot of good musicians out there, but none of them are going to get produced. I mean, not enough, but a very small, like less than 1%. It's like, it's a corporate world, and so to get represented by these big labels, it's really a needle in the haystack. And so what I want to do, and there's organizations like this, there's nonprofits out here that record veterans, and there's other nonprofits for other social minorities that record or produce things for them, projects that they have. And I want to kind of get that started on the West Coast because I think that a lot of veterans, once they get out, especially in California, like I think California and Oklahoma have a really high number of OIF, OEF veterans, and New Dawn veterans. And so I think that if we establish some kind of network in, of veterans, of creative veterans through these programs, we can eventually kind of, I want to say, like, not tackle the problem of suicide, not tackle the problem of depression, but give them a tool, to use, so they can, instead of picking up a knife or a gun, they pick up a paintbrush or a guitar. It actually works. So that's exactly, for me, it helped a lot. Because there was times where I was at my lowest point, and I, the thought of suicide didn't sound too bad at one point, but then you think about things. You think about what I still have inside me that nobody has seen yet, and it's a really beautiful thing once people can really see that. But if you bottle up and you're just going to end up falling deeper, 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 and deeper down that downward spiral. So yeah, there's a documentary we're also working on that I was composing the score. Josh Heisel and Dan Collins, Josh Heisel are both the producers of this documentary film. It's called From War to Wisdom, and it's basically about when war ends. What are they doing now? Where are they now? And what the wisdom they've gained from their experience. How is that feeding into their lifestyles now? And so it's going to be coming out next year. Hopefully, I think it's going to be at Sundance 2015. So really hoping, and that's kind of like the first score I actually wrote a piece for. So and it was started by a group of veterans, and that's kind of what we're trying to do right now. Is we're kind of, if there's something going on like a documentary film about vets, well, we don't want to purchase the music from a commercial entity. We want to make the music ourselves. We want to to be organic, and whatever vet comes in and produces something, we want to keep it as organic as possible to pay homage to the veteran that was creating this, and to keep it grassroots and keep it at a local community level, because everything right now is about sustainability and local, and I think we really got to kind of really exemplify that local sustainable lifestyle. And it could be done through food, it could be done through music, and it could really, really impact the communities, and the main really end state to all this is resilience building.